Another fresh edition of a program Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. Today is Thursday, May 9, 2024. My name is Winifred Gabon, your host on the program. As we normally do on the program, we like to flag off Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Let's go with leadership. Leadership's main story says state creation. Stakeholders argue for economic viability, regional balance. State creation. Stakeholders argue for economic viability, regional balance. And the riders, as reps introduce bills for additional 3 states in Southwest. CSOs reject calls for new states, say most states not viable, can't pay salaries. I'll take that once again. Leadership's main story today is on state creation. Stakeholders argue for economic viability, regional balance, as reps introduce bills for additional 3 states in Southwest. CSOs reject calls for new states, say most states not viable, can't pay salaries. Above the main headline story today, other stories gracing the cover are: will resist forceful takeover of rivers. Zenith Bank shareholders okay 125.59 billion naira dividend payout. The story is on page 26 of Leadership. I'm on the business board. CBN unveils list of licensed deposit money banks. Above the masthead, 38 days after army withdraws from Okwama. EFCC arraigns Sirika daughter today. The story is on page 7 of Leadership, while that of the army is on page 24 of the paper. From the front cover, we move to the page 3, where we have our stand. Our stand today is on parents and the scourge of exam malpractice. Parents and the scourge of exam malpractice. That takes us to the back page of the paper, where we have Being Blunt with Moazu in Lize, and he's writing on taxing us into poverty. This is a must read as you log on to the website of Leadership, and also for the continuation of the headline stories, the editorial and inside stories. Leadership at www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we have The Punch next on our menu. The Punch made headline story says federal government plans fresh audit of 2.7 trillion naira subsidy claims. Federal government plans fresh audit of 2.7 trillion naira subsidy claims. Pro-Fubara speaker emerges as PDP rejects impeachment calls. Kaduna to relocate 359 schools over banditry. Soldiers detained for alleged extrajudicial killings. Beside the masthead of The Punch, detained journalists. Protesters storm force headquarters today. The story is on page 12 of Leadership. Detained journalists. Protesters storm force headquarters today. Above the masthead of The Punch, police to go after illegal POS operators. 3 states demand $501 million loan repayment suspension. Nigeria Air, Sirika daughter charged with 2.7 billion naira fraud. The story is on page 20 of The Punch. And of course, that concludes the review of the front headline stories on The Punch today, Thursday, May 9, 2024. For continuation of these headline stories, inside stories, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. From the Punch, Vanguard is next for review. Vanguard's main headline story: Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Labour Party PDP rep Afenifere kick as Umahi battles Atiku. Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Labour Party PDP rep Afenifere kick as Umahi battles Atiku. Atiku's criticisms induced by political calculations. Umahi. Labour Party asks Tinubu APC to come clean. Who ensure adequate funding? NAS. PDP condemns lies surrounding projects. Afenifere wants project halted. Follow due process. Rep Bamidele Salam says federal government. And that is the main story today on Vanguard. Beneath that, military withdraws troops from Okwama. Cybersecurity level further pauperized Nigerians. TUC Obi Northern Coalition. Cybersecurity level further pauperized Nigerians. TUC Obi Northern Coalition. Naira depreciates further as says to BDC's wobble. Naira depreciates further as dollar says to BDC's wobble. Zenith Bank's 125.59 billion naira dividend payout excites stakeholders. Of course, that also concludes the review of front headline stories on today's Vanguard newspaper. For continuation of these headline stories, inside stories, log on to the website of Vanguard, www.vanguardngr.com. The Guardian is next on our menu for review this morning. Guardian's main headline story says inflation major determinant of living wage negotiation, says NLC. Inflation major determinant of living wage negotiation, says NLC. Lagos State Government approves 40% rebate on duties payment, planning permits. Trade unions kick demand reversal of cybersecurity levy. Government adopt 13 as kidnapping returns to FCT. Reps probe Binance executives escape as federal government dismisses bribery claim. Rivers crisis deepens as pro-Fubara lawmakers elect new speaker. Man bags 14 years for sexually assaulting hearing impaired boy. Man bags 14 years for sexually assaulting hearing impaired boy. The story is on Metro page 8 of The Guardian. Beyond judiciary, public sector deserves equitable salary structure. Beyond judiciary, public sector deserves equitable salary structure. That is the editorial today on The Guardian. For continuation of these headline stories and the editorial, log on to the website of The Guardian, www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, the Daily Sun, is the last paper on our menu for review on this first segment of the show. And Daily Sun's main headline story says, governors ready to pay new minimum wage, Sule, as the National State Governor. Governors ready to pay new minimum wage, Sule. National Governor says states will have always cooperated with federal government on new wage. Beneath that main headline story, more outrage against cybersecurity levy. TUC threatens shutdown. Obi orders kick. Says such tax will further worsen hardship in Nigeria. 125 billion naira dividend payout excites Zenith Bank shareholders. EFCC to arraign former aviation minister Hadi Sirika daughter orders today. I'll take that again. EFCC to arraign former aviation minister Hadi Sirika daughter orders today. Delta Governor Hayes Tinubu as army withdraws from Okwama community. Binance reps to probe executives escape from custody, summon NSA. Bribery allegation force diversionary federal government. Chisco Transport Chairman backs Governor Umba's modern bus terminals project. Measles, Adamawa records 49 deaths, 143 confirmed cases. 18.3 million children out of school in Nigeria, says UNICEF. And that takes us to the last story on the masthead, beside the masthead today, and of course also on the cover of Daily Sun. Rivers, PDP blasts APC on call for Fubara's impeachment, describes it as invitation to anarchy. Government bars local government chairman from going to assembly as Agon backs APC. Oko Jumbo emerges fashioner speaker. The story is on page 26 of Daily Sun. And with that, we conclude the review of Daily Sun's front headline stories today. For more, log on to the website of Daily Sun, www.sunnynewsonline.com. That also concludes the first half of today's segment of Inside Nigeria. The second part is coming where we'll discuss some of the topical issues today. Don't go away, stay tuned. Welcome to the second half of your breakfast show on Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Weber, your host on the program, and as you can see, I have my Thursday guest in the house. He's a political economist, public affairs analyst, Olamileko Adekolari. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we are starting with Nigeria's most influential newspaper today, Leadership. Leadership is going the way of restructuring, and of course, the headline today says state creation stakeholders argue for economic viability, regional balance. So, what is your take on this? Because given the fact that the issue of state policing has been one too hot to handle, we have the IGP Egbe saying that he personally, although he also clarified that it was his own personal opinion, not speaking from the office as the IGP of police. He said that Nigeria is not right for state policing, and while others canvass for it, like former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. What are your views?
I think we just have to
Well, we are seeing a situation, where we have mainly Southerners canvassing for state policing, while we have majority of stakeholders in the north saying no to state policing.
I think it has to do with the nature of the northern cultural and societal development so far in Nigeria. Why the Southern think progressively in terms of what we think we can do to bring solutions to some of the problems that we have. For the northern part of the country, they still believe that the federal police is still very effective and more.
But they also have his back. Probably, maybe that is why.
Not all of them have his back. He just cannot say that have his back. But what they are looking at is for me, I think it has to do with the financing. That's what
However, but my take on this the issue of controversies trailing state policing is bad that everybody says, okay, like IGP said, his own personal opinion anyway, that Nigeria is not right for state policing, that governors are going to hijack the process, abuse it, and all whatnot. So instead of we know the cons of it, why don't we work to tackle the cons in order to raise up checks and balances against abuse of state
I think
instead of saying we are not right for it, they will hijack the process. Why don't you just do a way see how they can work around it, make it workable?
I think
that these governors in check.
I think to start with is to have it in place. Then have laws that can be implemented to do the check and balance.
Yes,
but when the laws that will do the check and balancing is not there, that's why we have this abuse we are talking about.
Yes.
But on the other hand is the financing. It's not just the abusing that the issue, it's the financing. Where would the resources to control or to fund police come? And that's why many people who are supporting the creation of state police are also looking at resource control for the state, so that there won't be any hanky-panky in the aspect of federal government funding it.
Yes, that's what I was coming to that. I just let's take it bit by bit, because leadership's headline story says stakeholders argue for economic viability. You know, the issue of economic viability or fiscal, how do you call it, devaluation, federalism is what nobody wants to go into, because it's a whole lot. You think if there are many are saying no to state policing, they are going to embrace this economic fiscal?
They may even not. The thing is that the trick in this is that if the state police succeed, definitely economic viability, political federalism will also go up with it, because I don't know, by the time they have state police, the state who owns it, who have their own state, will begin to agitate for funding to be able to cater for it, and it will now become a burden on the federal government to maintain two sets of police, either federal police or the state police. So at the end of the day, the federal government may let go the economic viability for state so that you can control your resources.
So what about the security votes governors are collecting?
That's another way of trying to use account. That by the time state police exist in the state, then we can ask, okay, that money that you are collecting as security devote it to state police, although they may say it's not enough. So that's why they may also call for resource control at the state level. But for me, I think we should start with that.
But how ready are states actually going to embrace this economic devaluation, given the fact that when the VAT issue sparked up then under former governor of Rivers State, Wike, about the state collecting his own VAT. It sparked. We had a state like Gombe the commissioner then begging that Gombe State was so poor that they should allow the state hospital to remain. So what is going to happen to solve? Do you think states are ready to do the whole hog?
Definitely. One thing about
federalism.
One thing about fiscal federalism is that it now gives the state opportunity to now control everything that has to be generation of revenue, either in mineral, either in solid mineral or liquid mineral. Then the other thing is that the resident and indigenous of the state will now have the opportunity to even ask questions on how the state are managing their resources. But as it stands today now, like the Gombe that you talk about, how much has Gombe been receiving on VAT? Nobody can ask them how much. Nobody can even, they won't even tell you. And there's also a proposal that the VAT should be increased to 90% for state and local government, then 10% for federal government. It's being suggested currently. But the question is remains that if we give them the resource control, we will give the resident and indigenous opportunity to ask questions. Then some states will not have any excuse looking at federal government anymore. I think that's the wisdom behind it. But just that the fear that, okay, even if we allow all this to happen, then it will become a challenge to some states who are here to tap into the potential of that. I think that's what is happening to some.
But you know, then when President Bola Tinubu came into power, you saw his body language. He was quite disposed to maybe restructuring. You know, he was one that actually mooted the idea of state police when he had a meeting with the security service chiefs, and they came out that state policing is the way to go. But however, when opinion ferry leaders paid him for recently, he said he was going to take it step by step, turn by turn. And you could see that he's not really so overjoyed to have a restructuring. And I read a column by Jide Ojo, also an analyst of this program. He said that his column that he wrote that before you know what is happening, Tinubu's term, will be over because he just did 1 year. We're in May now, May 29, and he just have 2 years to go because last year he will now be campaigning for
next election.
So what is going to happen? Because we have a situation whereby presidents, before they come in, they canvass for, we are going to go for restructuring. But at the end of the day, they, like Buhari.
No, the issue is that they also look at the political calculation. You could bet it that Tinubu may come, if he eventually get a second term, may still bring back this issue.
What if he doesn't get it? Because we saw the plenty money that GEG spent on Confab.
Exactly. Nothing happened to the. So the issue is this. You know, he may be very calculative in terms of his second term ambition. So there are some things that will anger some certain region of the country when it comes to this kind of thing, like state police, like economic control by state. They don't want that to happen. So you may use that calculation to say, okay, let us pare down. Maybe in a second term we'll bring this up. But majority of Nigerians know that if this happens, economic viability for state, economic control by state, it will go a long way. Like now, the pressure that federal government is having, like this issue, I know you definitely go into the issue of this cyber security tax talking about very soon. But by the time everybody have the opportunity to ask regional governors of national government questions about what they are having or what they are generating, then the less pressure on federal government. I think that for me is better. But just that it is being played along politics, particularly like the presidency. They say, no, don't do this now. You know, they not have a YouTube vote to give you. But if you go against them, they may not want this to happen. But I also think there's also been thinking among the North, particularly North-Central states, already been thinking this issue of tapping into their potential. It's only just the core North are here to see the viability of what will happen to them when they eventually control the economy. And that will be more better because we say we are a federating state. How come that it is only the central that is controlling all the resources? Meanwhile, you only give trickle to the subnational, which is not going that way. So I just hope that maybe if it is second term, we may still launch the project. But at this point in time,
you're already looking to second term of when he still has 2 years to
that means if you go 2 years to go. The thing is that, do you know that one thing about politicians? The next election is being planned immediately they are sworn in. They don't wait for this one we are saying 2 years. He has already started plotting his graph. The political party is already putting machinery in place. It is we outside there say, they are waiting for the 2 years is already on now. They already start planning. You see.
Yes, and the way that again that makes somebody uncomfortable is the fact that he said as reps introduce bids for additional 3 states in Southwest. Why that? And we have the Southeast also canvassing for 1 additional state to make that state 6 in the geopolitical zone, because we have South 6 states.
Exactly.
Southeast has 5 currently, while Southwest has 6, and the reps are also now introducing 3 states introducing B for 3 states creation.
I mean, for me, I don't even know where they want to create those 3 states from the southwest. Is it from Osun? Is it from Lagos? Although there have been agitation for Lagoon State, and I was asking, will that state be on the sea? Because I've checked the entire map of Lagos. I've checked the one of Ogun. I've checked the one of Oyo has a large mass. But the thing is that the Okegun state they are trying to create from which part of Osun? Definitely they would collect some land from Osun state and add to that particular, because Osun state is a little bit not too in large mass like that. Then is it Ekiti? Is it Ondo? So for me, it could be a necessary impossibility. But I know that of southern Kaduna has been on the table, especially in North Central, and that of the Southeast has been on the table. I think that's where the reps need to think, not from the
They are not going to, because CSOs reject calls for new states. Says most states are not viable, can't pay salaries. So how would this state stand?
I think that
boils down to the oil, money from the oil.
Exactly. And why CSO is saying they are not viable, because the state are yet to control their resources or think through what they can potentially raise. But for me, I don't see any state in Nigeria that is not viable. The only thing is that the leadership they are yet to take advantage of what is available. Like for instance, I think there's a new thinking in Nasarawa State now. Before, lithium materials are exported raw from Nigeria, but the current governor is in the second time thinking, no, we can't continue this way again. Then the first lithium manufacturing company is now being cited in one of the local government. They have the largest deposit of lithium in Nigeria. So you can see how some states are taking advantage.
Yes, the government is already saying that they are ready to pay new minimum wage. That's the story on daily.
Because its FAC allocation has doubled twice. Both Nasarawa, both Ekiti, they are getting triple of what they are getting initially as FAC allocation. So they have yes now, not just minimal because of what is coming from federal allocation, and because the subsidy money that we are now being shared to them. So before you see a state like Nasarawa State getting 1.2 billion every month, but now they are getting close to 6-7 every month now, and they have been able to offset their debt of over 50 billion in the last 1 year. So it shows that there are some states that can be viable, but just that the leadership in that state, if they want to become docile and they don't want to do anything, they remain that way.
All right, thank you so much. Now, just before we leave the issue of restructuring, including state creation, how viable is Nigeria actually going to have a situation whereby they'll be able to restructure eventually or at the end of the day?
It may not happen immediately, but there could be a gradual process towards it. If they can get the state police right now, definitely they will move to other things. They may not easily move to economic restructuring, but they could also move to political restructuring. Now they are looking at state police. After state police, they may call for political restructuring. The economic restructuring will be the last step in the restructuring.
Political restructuring, what do you mean by that?
When I'm talking about how can we do the presidential, how can we conduct our election, how can we govern ourselves? Should we have a six prime minister, or should we have five parliamentary
We just heard Kenya has adopted a parliamentary system.
Definitely a governance, so that it can reduce the cost of governance in it. So for me, we will be taking it step after step. That means we start with police restructure and police state police. If we succeed at that, they will go to political restructure. The economic restructure will be the last of it all. That's how I view this particular restructuring project that I want to embark.
Thank you so much. We'll move to another developing story. It's something that has been trending. As you can see, in most of the papers, we have the we like call it front page advert on it today. Transactions exempted from cybersecurity levy. The issue of cybersecurity levy has been generating controversy all across the country. We CSOs said no, you cannot, and CSOs, even the NLC, TUC saying that no, you cannot pauperize Nigerians more than this. What is your take on that? Because going through that memo, you see that it was something that was already projected many years ago.
Definitely. And let me start this way. It's not something that just came in. I think there was this misconception of this particular act. When that act was being put together, I think many of us who saw something danger that is happening now called the attention of stakeholders and say, no, this is supposed to be.
That was then?
That was then. Okay. That was this levy that was attached. Yes. And it has now become a tradition that anytime there's an act that's being put together in National Assembly, they will find one way to insert something about collection of money. Either the money will be collected from you when they are providing service for you, or you'll be paid that money through, like the PIA, there is a money, something money percentage. Yes. Then when it comes to data protection, there's something about money. When it comes to this one, there's so in every of our act, they will always find one thing about collection of money. And the essence of that was that if an agency is created in regard to that particular act, that agency will have a pool of funding. when this was put together, the experts in the ICT world, in the ICT in Nigeria, were thinking that this particular clause will help them to gather money and government will be able to use that money to sustain that sector. But they never knew that in the implementation of this particular act, in the government have a new idea. And that new idea is that that money will not be shared to anybody. It will go to NSA.
And which will not be accounted for.
That's where the agitation. So when I first saw it, I was like, when we are saying this thing is wrong, why did all these ICT experts supported the levy? They didn't kick against it. It's going to them. Now it has bumped. It's not against them. Now, when it comes to tax in Nigeria, this is my own thinking about tax in Nigeria. Why is it that the moment there is a proposal for tax, it is the rich that normally shout, this thing will affect the poor. This is a progressive tax.
You think so?
In the principles of tax administration, is a progressive tax in a sense that it deals with the much you deal with in a particular thing, the higher you pay. The lower you deal with it, the lesser you pay. I don't know whether I get it. It's a progressive tax. If you are dealing in millions, you pay higher. But when you are dealing in thousands, you pay lesser. Then when we now say, okay, the poor have been impoverished, or the poor are not even in the banking sector. So why we now say it is the poor that will affect? Now another angle to this discussion is there are about 16 coverts that exempt some people from not paying this tax, including big businesses. Big businesses don't do small transactions they did transaction with check, with bank-to-bank transaction. They have been exempted from this tax. So the argument, I'm trying to bring two angles to it. The first side is that let's look at.
You said there are two sides to it. Let's have the two sides.
Now the first side is that the rich are using this as an opportunity to escape payment of tax.
Okay.
But we don't know. It is just that the poor are so little. I'm so sorry for that. Saying they are not thinking critically, like someone like you looking at it critically. Because in the rich in Nigeria are so looking for opportunity to exempt themselves from tax payment. So one of the ways to quickly say we don't want to pay this tax is to say it is the poor that will suffer it. The moment you say it is the poor that okay, see this tax is for me, it's not for the rich. Yes, that is not for you. But meanwhile, it is for them exactly to be paid up. That's why when CBN came and said okay, there are 16 exemption people to either you are paying salary, pension, bank-to-bank transaction, in-house bank, you are exempted from this. And most of these big businesses that are now saying that it will affect businesses, that's where they do their transaction. They don't come on surface to surface like we and you transferring 10,000, 15,000. They deal within their bank-to-bank. And when a bank commands a particular bank to pay a particular customer of them some money, this particular law does not affect you. So that is the angle we must look at it first. Then the other angle is this, that because of the irony of many tasks that the current government is pushing out, we can now say, okay.
You saw the Guardian newspaper yesterday, they just gave a graphic illustration of the various myriad of taxes that Nigerians are paying through their banks. And it's quite huge.
Exactly, particularly the SMS, the stamp duty. Although there's also a misconception about stamp duty. Stamp duty is not on every transaction.
It's up on transaction above 10,000.
10,000 is not on every transaction. We must also clarify that. And it's not on
10,000 naira.
Yes, and it's not on both sides of the divide. That means sender and receiver. It's only on the side of the receiver that pay. And also depend on the kind of services that you are carrying out. In as much as we don't want to support government, but my own concern is that I'm so critical in the sense that the rich in Nigeria are trying as much as possible to evade tax. So they only use the poor as the scapegoat to say it is you, the poor, that will suffer. Meanwhile, they know that this tax is for them to pay because in most of Nigerians, and the government have understood something, especially this current government understood all manner of means that where government want to collect tax from Nigeria, well, Nigerians are willing to pay it.
Then why would the directive now say that the money pool will go to the office of?
That is the review they did on this law. They did a review between December and now. You know, the law didn't specify. It was meant for an agency that
it would be pulled into CBN.
But because of the review that was done on it, that's why in that let us push it to the NSA. And the NSA doesn't have much work to do with the cybersecurity issue. The cybersecurity issue is supposed to.
So what is it now going to do with the funds?
That means it's not even specified. So maybe when they collect the money, they're going to buy more spaceship, they're going to buy more anti-internet, whatever, but that there it has not been specified. But one thing I know is that before it was meant to be a pool that if an agency is created, just like we have the data protection agency, who also have a specified amount of money you pay if you go for their services. That is what this was also created. But they now review the law to revert it and make it that you pay the money. Because there was no agency to be created for you. That's why they now say, okay, let the money go to NSA office. So the NSA office will now think of what to do with the money. Maybe an agency will be created or a sub agency will be created on that.
Okay, you just levy Nigerians or maybe the rich, as you put it, and say the money should just be pulled into NSA office.
And the thing is that with the NSA office now, it has not been specified on how they are going to even use the money. That is very challenging.
Outside this cyber security levy, many Nigerians are complaining of being too levied and complaining about, especially amidst the hardship in the land. Is it wise for federal government to keep introducing one levy or the other?
I think over the years there have been this argument that we should diversify our economy. One of the things that have been suggested, we should look at tax net area, which is being suggested by more international bodies. But for me, it is not the problem. Nigerians don't have problem of paying tax. What we have problem is that accountability of the money. That's where we have issues. If you ask any sincere Nigerian, they will say, no, for me to pay is not the problem. When we pay, can we see the evidence of the money? Now, on this aspect of so much levies, it has happened that because of poor thinking around governance or where to get more revenue for themselves, that's why they don't think any other thing than to levy people. There are about 25 areas that state governors are collecting tax. There are about 21 areas that local government is collecting tax. There are 9 areas that federal government is collecting tax. And you ask yourself, when they collect all this money, including duplication and multiplication of all this, because there are some that local government is collecting, state government is collecting, you ask them, where is the account of this money? That's where we have issues. For me, for example, as an economist, I don't have issue with your tax collection, but it is that when you collect, there should be evidence of A has been collected to provide certain activities. But when it is not there, then we have issue, and that's where we're having problem with this cyber security. Because even with the NSA, they are confused. Money is coming. So what are we going to be doing with it? You get it? But from the initial stage, it was money that's supposed to take care of an agency if it's created, cyber security agencies. But it will be something that since the government of the previous year, they didn't do anything about it. I think that's why the current government took advantage of this and asked the money to be domiciled in CBN, to NSA office.
Thank you so much. Now, for the first time, we are having former President Muhammadu Buhari's first minister, to be prosecuted, arraigned in court today. Sirika, the former aviation minister, Hadi Sirika, his daughter, and others. They are going to be arraigned in court today over 2.7 billion naira fraud.
We just hope that it won't be a drama kind of arrangement. AFCC will go with their full proof or what they can.
And I'm even surprised that the brother is not among, because that was the story we had through EFCC earlier, that they discovered some billions of naira into his brother, who happens to be a top civil servant.
Maybe they may use him as their.
He was given a contractor to procure some aviation works in Katsina Airport and others, and he was even paid just few days to the exit of the former administration. But I'm surprised he was not charged.
He may be the star witness of EFCC.
Okay.
Because he's the one that most of the money was found in his account.
Yes,
so EFCC may not be using him as their star witness to prosecute the case, because they don't have the major evidence they have is this account that the money is. So they may use as a star witness against his own brother. But the other issue is that I just hope that they have their facts right. They are not going with multiple count charge that the court will begin to dispel them in a way that as if you are throwing you are just throwing water here and there and not doing anything. So for me, I just hope that they have the facts right. They have the evidence. They also have all their documents in a way to nail this as expected. But if they don't have it,
media trial.
We don't want that to happen.
We also have the issue of the former minister too of humanitarian affairs of the delegation. Although that one, they said the investigation continues. Former
humanitarian Shadia.
Yes.
We just hope that one too, when they come.
Many people are actually waiting with bated breath, because many people believe that most of these ministers who served under former President Muhammadu Buhari thought they were untouchables, and with maybe Buhari's name, they won't be brought to book. So many Nigerians have waited. How far will EFCC go? That is.
For me, I will not ask EFCC to be in a hurry, so they will not throw away a good case because as a result of urgency of the. Because of public opinion, let them take their time and take these guys to court. Like the Seraki issue now, you can see how.
You said yes, they should take their time, which I quietly really buy into, because we still have this Nigeria air that has not even been told.
Be
Yeah,
taught
this has not told
or
us
told
about
her
anything.
anything about.
But
And
this
maybe
something everybody believed was really a bogus,
the biggest scam
biggest scam.
in Nigeria in 2023.
Yeah.
We don't know the
The
scam that
EFCC has not
happened.
really
Maybe with
that.
this now, we will be unraveling it one after the other. Maybe by the time they go to court, the charges or the count charges will now tell us one or two things, maybe about Nigerian Air, about the logo they designed for it, about the renovation they carried out, about the concessions of those airports. It's also part of some of the things that the man committed. So by the time they go to court, they'll begin to lay to us what they have been able to find out about the man from the investigation. But the thing is that they should take their time, and they should avoid all this drama that we normally see in the previous EFCC cases.
All right, thank you so much. Now, before we go, Rivers is still on fire. Yesterday we heard that the Speaker of the House of Representatives was impeached, and a pro-Fubara Speaker emerged. Is there going to be an end? Would there be an end in sight to this imbroglio between a godson and godfather?
Just like I do say, and others will normally say, it is not easy to forgive political sin. And that's what is happening in university. The sin that have been alleged that the Fubara committed against Wike, you can't just go like that. And again, his recent activities also have justified that, even though they have been an open show, a media show that we are forgiving ourselves and we let go. But you can see the recent visit of Wike to the state, and maybe I discovered so many things that it's also wrong. Maybe that's why they are coming up with their new tactics. But we just hope that all this will end, because for us, it's about the economy of Rivers State that is very important. That's where we have the major oil wells that is supplying crude oil that Nigeria itself. So if there is any crisis, definitely affect the economy of Rivers State and the people at large. So we just want them to settle their matter out of all this rigmarole, the impeaching speaker doing this. And what is the problem of APC in this particular issue? What are they doing there? Why is APC also putting voice on?
Don't forget that the members of the State House of State House of Assembly defected to APC.
But I think he officially shown that they are now members of APC, because
that is why the APC National is the one that is urging them to impeach
But I just hope that the APC National will not put his hand in something that he cannot be able to put, because I know that there is faction of APC in the state, and the faction of APC in the state, there's a particular one that is supporting the governor, there's one that is supporting these people pro Wike group. So they're also divided. So, but at the end of the day, for me, it's about the peace of Rivers State that should be at the table, not this personal interest and good interest that they're pushing forward.
Yes, I hope they know that. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure It's always a pleasure having you on the program. Now, just before we go, I can't help asking about this Binance issue. When the news broke that he escaped in custody, I actually laughed in this program. I wondered how the man could have escaped just like that from the custody of DSS. Now, Res Pro Binance executives escape as federal government dismisses bribery claim.
It's very important that our security labs has also gone to the
security
level
labs, or there was a bribe or money exchange.
I think, let's say it's security labs that caused that escape. But the issue of bribe, is it truly that is to derail people from the main issue, or to cause another disharmony between the government system? Because as it is now, people are saying it is the House of Reps people that are asking for bribe. People are saying no, it is the DSS and the NSC that are asking for bribe. People are even saying that it is official of the presidency that's asking for bribe. So we don't even know who is asking for bribe. But one thing is that this man has escaped, and even the owner of the company himself has come to Nigeria. And because it was because of that owner came to Nigeria that the issue about bribery came in. But we just hope that the government can put all this to rest. If they are taking them to the, let them take them to court. If the company also have his hand full and they are ready to pay the fine of 10 billion, let them just pay and go. That's just what I would suggest, because making it look as if it's a media trial, it's a media drama, in embarrassing the country, is not good for our image internationally.
Thank you so much. Well, that's a take home and parting shot from today's program, Inside Nigeria. Like I always say, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Olamilekun Adefolari, political economist and also public affairs analyst. I look forward to having you same time next week on the show. Well, viewers, this is where we draw the curtain on today's program. Don't forget to join us same time, same station tomorrow for another fresh edition of the program. My name is Winnie Freddy, and also don't forget to join us on the hour for the news on this frequency. See you then. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last word, ladies.